Welcome back in, everybody. It is day 23 of our 25 Drams of Christmas. That means we are just 2 days away from Christmas. My gosh, this month flew. We have a really good whiskey. One of the most underrated whiskeys out there, in my opinion. We're going to be talking about Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof today. Now, this is, as mentioned right on the label, Jack Daniel's. Now, when you think Jack Daniel's, you think Jack Daniel's, that black number 7 that you see on every shelf. Well, this is something a little more special. Now, this isn't just single barrel, which, you know, obviously one barrel to make all the bottles in that barrel, but it's also barrel proof. So the strength right out of the barrel. Yes. Oh, how we love our barrel proof whiskey here. Mash bill on this is 80% corn, 12% rye, and 8% barley, so not much rye in this. It's going to be pretty corn forward. Now, Jack Daniel's is technically a Tennessee whiskey, so that's the big debate. You know, is it a bourbon? Is it Tennessee whiskey? They market it as Tennessee whiskey. I consider it a bourbon myself. I'm not going to get into this. I'm going to leave it in the comments for you guys to fight over, and you can tell me what you think it is. My bottle I have specifically here is 130.4 proof, so 65.2% ABV. Now, these bottles are beautiful. I love the shape. It sticks out right on the shelf. On the top here, it says barrel proof, and it says the RIC number, so L8 on the top. And it's just a gorgeous looking bottle. And when you think, like I said, when you think Jack Daniel's, you think it's just gonna be something disgusting and cheap, but I think this is one of the most underrated whiskeys out there. Also, let me mention real quick, they do some great store picks. You can see behind me here, I have a few Jack Daniel's barrel proof store picks. And man, when you can select those single barrels yourself, they can be something special for sure. Let's go into color here first. Just dark. I mean, dark mahogany color in my light. Really not a huge amount of oiliness sticking to the glass here. Now, the classic thing with Jack Daniel's, the Tennessee whiskey, is that charcoal mellowing or charcoal filtering they do. So we'll see if any of that comes out on the nose or not. But a beautiful looking color in the glass here. As I mentioned, almost 131 proof. Let's see how it is, guys. Immediately, the maple char comes through for me on the nose. It's just a charred maple chips, almost, you know. Absolutely banana on the nose for me, too. Interestingly enough, I've had a couple of the Jack Daniel's single barrels. Not the barrel proofs, the single barrels that don't have that heavy banana note. But for me, this barrel proof, at least this is quite a bit of banana for me. Which is kind of that Brown-Foreman, Jack Daniel's being a subset of Brown-Foreman. Kind of their flavor profile, you know, I'll pick out those banana notes. Almost smells like a banana runt, if you've had the runts and the banana flavor in those runt packs. But that awesome, like burnt caramel, burnt maple notes are coming through on the nose for sure. A very nice nose, and really this is not burning me too much. I didn't mention, as I said, I have a lot of store picks of this, but this is not a store pick. This is just a normal single barrel you would buy off the shelf. So I got this at Meijer, right off the shelf. I want it to be anything you would go pick up yourself. You could go to the store and just pick up a barrel proof. So, all right, let's go into the taste on this. Happy day 23, everyone. Merry Christmas. Woo. All right, there's the burn. Woo-wee. Yeah, buddy, we love that burn though. Feels great. I mean, a nice long finish. Not too much sticking to the side of the palate like I would have hoped. Sometimes on first sip, I just like to see how the finish is, because you can't get much out of your first sip usually anyway. That sip though, that banana note is still very prevalent for me, but I'm getting a lot more baking spices, a lot more brown sugar coming through. So almost like a caramelized brown sugar. Again with that like kind of a smoked maple. It reminds me of like a smokiness, a little like a smoked maple something. Smoked maple chips, if you've ever used like those smoking chips you'd put on your grill, it kind of reminds me of that. and it just gives you that little level of char, little level of smokiness that you'll sometimes find in some of these whiskeys. So that sip actually, I guess that smokiness I was talking about, it's more of like a tobacco note, you know, like you'll find in your whiskey sometimes. Leatherish, tobacco-ish, you know. The leather notes usually don't come out for me until a whiskey starts getting really high up in age. That's when I tend to pick them out myself. On average, there's no age statement on this whiskey. It's believed to be about 4 to 7 years, depending on what you get, which single barrel you get, so it's not overly aged. But that smokiness, I think that's what's bringing out those tobacco notes for me. Let's go one more sip here. Whew! Yeah. Even on sip 4, my palate should be completely used to that burn. It's just completely giving me the Tennessee hug, I guess we'd call it now. Or the Tennessee tug, whatever you want to call it. It's doing it though. You still feel that 131 proof, but it feels great. I mean, we're talking wintertime whiskey now. It's probably snowing at this point in December. We haven't got much snow really so far in Michigan here, but man, you need something to warm you up. It's still 15 outside. I mean, 15 degrees, so this will warm you up right. Let's add a little bit of water to this. I've said a couple times, I like to add water if proof is above 115-ish. I don't like to add if it's below that. This is 15 points higher than 115. So let's add a little bit of water, see if it does anything, opens it up at all. I added 4 drops. I think that's going to be more than enough. Well, the nose is very muted to me now. Unfortunately, a lot of times when I add water, it just mutes that wonderful barrel-proof nose and taste I enjoy, you know? Those amplified notes. It just seems all more muted. The same notes are really coming through, it's just brought down a little level, so. Interesting. Well, actually, adding water to that, it brought out almost like a nuttiness. It really is like a barrel note with like a nuttiness, almost like a barrel aged, I don't know, peanut or almond or something. A little bit of like a toasted almond, I would say, but it's not sweet. It was very drying on the back of my palate. Heaven Hill will give me a nice, like, caramelized, you know, nuttiness, you know, and that's not what this was. Let's try it again. Wow. That is so weird. Yeah, it's completely drying out the back of my palate right now. I mean, like, sucking the moisture out of my mouth. I don't know what it is. For this single barrel specifically, I would not add water. That's really interesting. It's almost like a dried oak, and just like that same very, very dusty corn, dusty nuttiness is just coming through, and it's really drying me out. I do not enjoy that. We're sticking with without water for this. Without water, excellent product. Locally for me, this whiskey is going to run you about $60 to $65. Now that's pretty much a premium when we're talking bourbon or Tennessee whiskey. That's a pretty good, that's a pretty premium price. But think about the $60 price range. We've got Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, 1920, Stag Junior, all phenomenal whiskeys. Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof, at least some of the single barrel store picks I have had, it's towing the line. Like, it's some of those single barrel store picks, I'd put them up against them in a blind any day. I actually recently just did a live stream where I had 4 whiskeys sent to me from one of my patrons, Christopher David. Thank you so much, buddy. And Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof was actually one of these that were blinded in there, and it placed higher than some other incredible whiskeys. I mean, Old Carter whiskey was in there. We had Blanton Straight from the Barrel, which won the blind flight, but If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. That was a very fun night. But a very underrated whiskey, I think. It flies in below the radar. In other parts of the country, you can find this sub $60. So I think for a barrel proof whiskey and what you're getting out of it, the lengths it can take you, I mean, adding ice to it, adding water to it if you want, I think it's a pretty good value. I really do. Especially if you can find a store pick. I mean, the shelfie's good. I won't add water myself now that I've done that experiment. But but if you can get some store picks of this stuff, all day. Do it all day at that $60 price range. Thank you all so much for joining me for day 23 of our Bourbinsane Whiskey Advent Calendar. The month is almost over, guys. We've had an awesome time. As I mentioned, after the 25 days of Christmas, we'll probably be taking about a week off. We will be coming back and we're going to be doing Unicorn Week. I want to do 7 days in a row of just unicorn whiskeys, again provided by my incredible patron Christopher David. I've got some great stuff here and I cannot wait to get into them, and it's going to be a fun week for us. So stay tuned for that. If you have not already checked out my Patreon page, please do consider supporting the channel. It's really the best way to support me. If you like these types of videos, if you like these series, this is the best way to help me continue doing them. And it really means a lot. I mean, all the support is just incredible. So I appreciate each and every one of you watching this episode today. Let me know down in the comments below, have you had Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof? If not, how do you think it compares to the regular single barrel or even the old number 7? You know, what's your favorite Jack Daniel's expression out of their whole line? Let me know. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I'll see you tomorrow for day 24, and this whiskey is a good one. I promise. Stay insane, everyone.